I am the keeper of forgotten futures, guardian of paths not taken. In the infinite web of the Force, every choice creates new destinies. Come, witness a galaxy where the Chosen One prophecy found a different child, where Anakin Skywalker was merely powerful, not prophesized, where destiny became a choice rather than a birthright. This is that story. The blue blade hummed through the air, carving a deadly arc as blaster fire erupted across the monastery's ancient courtyard. Anakin Skywalker pressed forward, his jaw clenched, deflecting bolt after bolt with mechanical precision. But something was different today. The Force whispered warnings he couldn't quite grasp, like trying to catch smoke with bare hands. "Master!" Ahsoka's voice cut through the chaos. "The Council's requesting immediate extraction." Anakin's eyes narrowed. They always wanted him somewhere else, doing something else. Never here, never finishing what he'd started. The frustration burned familiar in his chest as he cut down another battle droid. "Tell them we're busy," he growled, leaping over a crumbling wall. But the Force trembled again, and this time, it wasn't from the battle. Somewhere far across the galaxy, the Jedi Council sat in emergency session, and at the center of their discussion was a single devastating question. What if we were wrong? The story truly began years earlier on the scorching sands of Tatooine. Qui-Gon Jinn knelt before a 9-year-old boy, his weathered hands checking the child's midichlorian count for the third time. The numbers didn't lie. Over 20,000, higher than Master Yoda himself. "The Force is strong with him," Qui-Gon murmured to Obi-Wan later that night, as twin suns sat over Mos Espa. "I believe he is the Chosen One." But belief and truth are often distant cousins. What Qui-Gon couldn't know, what none of them could know, was that Anakin Skywalker was simply an anomaly, a genetic lottery winner. The Force hadn't conceived him through mysterious means. Shmi Skywalker had simply given birth to an extraordinary gifted child. Nothing more, nothing less. The Council's chambers felt colder than usual when they first examined the boy. Master Yoda's ears drooped slightly, his gimmer stick tapping an uncertain rhythm. "Clouded, this boy's future is," he said, those ancient eyes seeing something the others missed. "Fear, I sense in him. Anger, pain. The boy is the Chosen One," Qui-Gon insisted. "He will bring balance." Mace Windu leaned forward, his fingers steepled. "The prophecy speaks of one born of the Force itself. Can we be certain?" "I am certain," Qui-Gon interrupted, a rare breach of protocol that raised eyebrows around the circle. They agreed to train him, eventually, but doubt lingered like a shadow at noon, small, but undeniably present. Years flowed like sand through an hourglass. Anakin grew under Obi-Wan's patient guidance, his power expanding like a star going nova. But power without discipline is like a river without banks, destructive, chaotic. Where other Padawans found peace and meditation, Anakin found only restlessness. Where they released their emotions into the Force, he gripped them like treasures. "You're thinking of her again," Obi-Wan observed during one training session as Anakin's lightsaber form grew sloppy. "I don't know what you mean," Anakin replied, but the flush on his cheeks betrayed him. Senator Amidala had that effect, making the Chosen One feel decidedly mortal. The Clone Wars erupted like a volcano, and Anakin threw himself into battle with frightening enthusiasm. His methods brought victory, but at what cost? The Council watched, waited, and withheld. While his peers advanced to knighthood, Anakin remained a Padawan. Not because he lacked skill, he had more raw talent than most masters, but because he lacked something far more essential: balance. "It's not fair." Anakin paced their shared quarters like a caged Nexu. "I've led more campaigns than half the Council." "Leadership in war doesn't make a Jedi Knight," Obi-Wan replied carefully. "The Council seeks—" "I know what they seek." Anakin's fist connected with the wall, leaving a spiderweb of cracks. "They seek perfection. They seek someone who isn't me." He was more right than he knew. Deep in the Outer Rim, on a world forgotten by star charts and ignored by trade routes, a child played in the ruins of an ancient temple. She was young, no more than 6, with eyes that held depths unusual for her age. When she reached out, stones danced. When she laughed, flowers bloomed in barren soil. The Force didn't just flow through her, it sang. Master Plo Koon discovered her during a routine patrol, drawn by a pull he couldn't explain. The child, Lyra, was barely 3 years old, found in the ruins with no memory of parents. "There's something about this one," he reported to the Council via hologram. "The Force doesn't just flow through her, it originates from her." Yoda's projection flickered, but his interest was sharp. "Bring the child, you will." Much to discuss we have. Back on Coruscant, Anakin felt a shift like a change in air pressure before a storm. The Council's doors, always reluctantly open to him, now seemed sealed. Conversations hushed when he entered rooms. Even Obi-Wan grew distant, burdened by secrets he couldn't share. "They're hiding something," Anakin confided to Padme one night, her apartment a sanctuary from his spiraling thoughts. "I can feel it. Perhaps you're being paranoid," she suggested gently, though her political instincts sensed truth in his words. "Paranoid?" Anakin laughed, but it held no humor. "They've never trusted me. Never. The great chosen one." What a joke. It was Palpatine who finally offered him the truth, wrapped in silk and poison. They sat in the Chancellor's office, the city planet sprawling endlessly beyond reinforced windows. "My boy," Palpatine began, his voice grandfatherly concern himself. "I've heard the most disturbing rumors from my sources within the temple." "What rumors?" Anakin leaned forward, desperate for answers. "They say the Council has found another. A child they believe is the true chosen one." Palpatine's eyes glittered with false sympathy. "It seems they've decided you mistake." The word hit like a physical blow. Mistake. Everything he'd endured, everything he'd sacrificed, reduced to a clerical error in the cosmic ledger. The Council's betrayal became clear when Anakin discovered them training the child in secret. He'd followed Obi-Wan one evening, suspicious of another Council meeting. Instead, he found his master in a training chamber with Yoda, Mace, and a young girl whose presence in the Force blazed like a supernova. "Breathe, young one," Yoda instructed. "Let the Force flow through you, not from you." Anakin watched from the shadows as the child lifted not just rocks, but seemed to lift the very air itself. The Force obeyed her like a loyal pet, eager and willing. With him, it had always been a wrestling match. Powerful, yes, but forced, unnatural. "Why didn't you tell me?" Anakin confronted Obi-Wan later, unable to contain his rage. Obi-Wan's shoulders sagged. "Anakin, You what? You thought I was too weak to handle the truth? Too unstable?" Anakin's voice cracked. "I gave everything to the Order. The Council felt, Anakin repeated mockingly. "When have they ever felt anything? They're machines, Obi-Wan. Cold, calculating machines who used me until something better came along." That night, Padme held him as he trembled with fury and hurt. "I was supposed to be special," he whispered. "I was supposed to matter." "You do matter," she insisted. "To me, to everyone whose life you saved. But not to them." His eyes hardened. "Never to them." The visions started 3 nights later. Padme writhing in agony. Padme calling his name as life fled her body. Padme cold and still while medical droids pronounced words he couldn't accept. They came every time he closed his eyes, each iteration more vivid than the last. "Help me," he begged the Council, pride abandoned in desperation. "Teach me to stop death itself." But they were busy with their new prodigy. Master Windu barely glanced up from his datapad. "Death is a natural part of life, Skywalker. Attachment leads to fear of loss." "Don't lecture me about attachment!" Anakin slammed his fist on the Council chamber floor. "I've seen what's coming. I need power." "Power?" Yoda's eyes narrowed. "Dangerous thinking, that is. A Jedi seeks not power." "Then what good are you?" The words erupted before he could stop them. The Council's shock was palpable, but Anakin was beyond caring. "What good is any of this if we can't save the people we love?" He stormed out, leaving silence in his wake. But in that silence, Palpatine's words echoed. "The Jedi fear your potential, Anakin. They always have." The path to darkness is paved with good intentions and desperate choices. When Palpatine finally revealed himself as Darth Sidious, Anakin felt not shock, but a strange relief. Here was someone offering solutions instead of platitude.
"The dark side holds the power you seek," Sidious whispered. "Darth Plagueis discovered the secret to preventing death itself. I can teach you."
"And the Jedi?"
"The Jedi have already betrayed you, my boy. They cast you aside for another. Why show loyalty to those who showed you none?"
The logic was flawed, poisoned by pain and anger. But to a drowning man, even a snake looks like a rope. When Order 66 came, Anakin, now Darth Vader, led the assault on the temple with vicious purpose. This wasn't destiny. This was revenge. He carved through defenders he once called friends, his blade humming a funeral dirge. "Anakin!" Master Shak Ti gasped as his lightsaber found her heart. "You are our brother!" "I was your mistake," he corrected coldly. "And mistakes should be erased." He found the child, the supposed true chosen one, hidden in the Council chambers with a handful of younglings. She looked at him without fear, those strange, deep eyes seeing through his rage to the pain beneath. "You're hurting," she said simply. It wasn't a question. His blade wavered. Then, he remembered Padme's dying face in his vision. "Hurt is all the Jedi left me with." But as he raised his weapon, Yoda appeared like green lightning, his blade intercepting Vader's strike. "Escape the child must," he commanded. "The future she is." The battle was fierce, but brief. Yoda, ancient and powerful, held Vader at bay just long enough. When the smoke cleared, the child was gone, spirited away by surviving Jedi into the depths of the galaxy. Master Obi-Wan had taken her to a safe house in the Outer Rim, while Yoda led Vader on a false trail before vanishing into exile himself. Vader's scream of frustration echoed through the temple's burning halls. Even in victory, he'd been denied. For years after, he would hunt for the child, but the galaxy is vast, and the remaining Jedi had learned to hide in its shadow. Mustafar's rivers of lava reflected the hellfire in Anakin's eyes as he waited for Obi-Wan. He knew his former master would come. Duty and misguided love would demand it. "I've been expecting you," Vader said as Obi-Wan's ship landed. "Anakin," Obi-Wan's voice broke on the name. "What have you done?" "I've become what you all feared," Vader replied. "Powerful, uncontrolled, free." "This isn't freedom. This is slavery to your worst impulses." They circled each other like predators. Two men who'd once been brothers, now separated by an unbridgeable chasm. "You know what the funny thing is?" Vader laughed bitterly. "I wasn't even the chosen one. All that destiny nonsense. And I was just another Force sensitive with delusions of grandeur." "You were never just anything," Obi-Wan pleaded. "You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you." "Then you should have told them the truth." Vader's blade ignited. "You should have stood by me instead of that replacement." The duel was everything their relationship had been. Passionate, painful, and ultimately destructive. When it ended, Vader lay limbless on volcanic shores, his body as broken as his spirit. "You were right about one thing," Obi-Wan said through tears. "You weren't the chosen one, but you could have been something far greater, a good man. And that's the tragedy I'll carry forever." As Obi-Wan departed with Padme, who had foolishly followed Anakin to Mustafar, her body went into premature labor from the stress. The twins came too early, too fragile. The medical droids on Polis Massa worked frantically, but while they saved the infants, Padme's life force ebbed away, fulfilling Anakin's vision in the cruelest way possible. She lived just long enough to name them, Luke and Leia. "There's good in him," she whispered with her final breath. The twins were separated and hidden. Luke to Tatooine with the Lars family, Leia to Alderaan with the Organas. But without her father's legacy as the chosen one, without that destiny pulling at their bloodline, they grew to be remarkable but ordinary people. Luke became a skilled moisture farmer who sometimes gazed at binary sunsets. Leia became a passionate politician who fought the Empire through diplomacy. Neither knew of their Force sensitivity, for there was no prophecy calling them to greatness. 20 years passed like pages in a burning book. The Empire rose and ruled with iron fists, while in hidden corners of the galaxy, hope learned to walk again. The child, now a young woman named Lyra, trained under Yoda's patient guidance on Dagobah. She had spent her childhood years hidden on various worlds with Obi-Wan, learning control and patience before he brought her to Yoda for her true training at age 15. "Different from the old ways your training must be," Yoda explained as she meditated among the swamp's living force. "Failed, we did, by seeing only light and dark. Gray, the truth is. Balance means understanding both, choosing neither." Lyra absorbed these lessons like drought-touched soil absorbs rain. Where the old Jedi rejected emotion, she learned to channel it. Where they feared the dark, she learned to acknowledge it without surrendering to it. The Force sang through her, not because she was chosen, but because she chose to listen. The rebellion had formed through the courage of ordinary beings, Mon Mothma's leadership, Admiral Akbar's strategy, and yes, Princess Leia Organa's fierce diplomacy. Though she lacked Force powers, Leia's natural charisma and political brilliance made her invaluable. When Rebel spies discovered the second Death Star's location, it was Lyra who volunteered for what everyone knew was a suicide mission, to face the Emperor himself while the fleet attacked. "The Emperor's overconfidence is his weakness," Mon Mothma had said in the briefing, "and your presence, hidden all these years, is our advantage. He won't expect the true chosen one to simply walk through his front door, because only an idiot would do that," Lyra had replied with a wry smile. "Good thing I was trained by the best idiots the galaxy ever produced." heroes who believed in hope. In the throne room of the second Death Star, Emperor Palpatine cackled as Force lightning danced from his fingers.
Young fool, you think being the chosen one makes you my equal?
I'm not chosen, Lyra replied calmly, absorbing the lightning with disturbing ease. I simply choose. Vader watched from the shadows, more machine than man, sustained by rage and regret in equal measure. In this girl, he saw everything he could have been. Powerful but controlled, passionate but peaceful.
Lord Vader,
Palpatine commanded,
destroy this pretender.
But as Vader stepped forward, lightsaber ignited, Lyra did something unexpected. She deactivated her own weapon and spoke directly to whatever remained of Anakin Skywalker. I know what they did to you, she said softly. How they failed you. How they made you feel worthless when you were worth everything. The prophecy was never about being chosen by the Force. It was about choosing to restore balance, regardless of destiny.
Silence!
Palpatine shrieked, increasing his assault. Lyra fell to one knee but continued speaking. You can still choose Anakin, not because of prophecy, not because of destiny, but because it's right. Vader stood frozen, watching this child, the one they'd chosen over him, show more understanding in a moment than the Jedi Council had in years. And in that moment, something Obi-Wan had said on Mustafar finally made sense. He could have been something far greater than the Chosen One. He could have been a good man.
No,
Vader said quietly, turning to face his master.
I'm done being your mistake.
Palpatine's eyes widened as Vader lifted him bodily, lightning scorching through armor and circuits.
Lord Vader, I am your master.
My name
He growled through failing vocabulary.
is Anakin Skywalker.
They plummeted together into the reactor core. Emperor and slave, master and mistake. Darkness consuming darkness until only light remained. Lyra escaped the Death Star's destruction, carrying with her a new understanding. As she helped rebuild the Jedi Order, she taught a different truth. The Force doesn't anoint saviors or choose heroes. It simply exists, waiting for those brave enough to choose balance over power, understanding over ignorance, love over fear. In the end, Anakin Skywalker brought balance to the Force, not because he was born to do so, but because in his final moment, he chose to. The prophecy had been right all along, not just in the way anyone expected. The Chosen One isn't born. They're made, one choice at a time, one moment of compassion overcoming years of rage. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all, that destiny is just another word for the choices we're brave enough to make. The Force surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the galaxy together, but it doesn't choose our path. We do. If you enjoy this journey into an alternative Star Wars universe where destiny takes unexpected turns and balance means something entirely different, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We explore the infinite possibilities hidden within the galaxy far, far away, asking the questions that reshape everything you thought you knew. The Force has many paths. Come discover them with us.